Jayo Radha Madhava Jayo Kunja Bihari Jayo Radha Madhava Jayo Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jayo Gopi Janna Vallabha Jayo Giri Varadhari Jayo Giri Varadhari Sodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Sodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Sodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Munatira Vanachari Jayo Radha Madhava Jayo Kunja Bihari Jayo Radha Madhava Jayo Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shri Radha Madhava Saki Srimad Mahaprabhu ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. This morning we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 3, The Birth of Lord Krishna, Shloka 11. Sa vismayot pula vilochano harim Sutam vilokya naka dundubistadha. Krishna vatarotsava sambramos prishan. Muda dvijebhyo yutam apluto gavam. Savismayot pula vilachano harim. Sutam vilokya nakadundubistadha. Krishna vatarotsava sambramos prishan. Mudha dvijebhyo yutam apluto gavam. Please chant. Dvijebhyo yutam apluto gavam. Dvijebhyo yutam apluto gavam. Vaishnavas? No Harim. Tamilokya nakadundubistadha. Krishna vatarotsava sambramos prishan. Dvijebhyo yutam apluto gavam. Sa. He, Vasudev, also known as Anakadundubi. Vismaya utpula vilochana. His eyes being struck with wonder at the beautiful appearance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Harim, Lord Hari, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sutam, as his son. Vilokya, observing. Anakadundubhi, Vasudev. Tada, at that time. Krishna Avatara Utsava, for a festival to be observed because of Krishna's appearance. Sambrama, wishing to welcome the Lord with great respect. Asprishat, took advantage by distributing. Mudha, with great jubilation. Vijebhya, to the Brahmanas. Ayutam, 10,000. Apluta, overwhelmed. Gavam, cows. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. When Vasudeva saw his extraordinary son, his eyes were struck with wonder. In tranquil jubilation, he mentally collected 10,000 cows and distributed them among the Brahmanas as a transcendental festival. Purport. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has analyzed the wonder of Vasudeva upon seeing his extraordinary child. Vasudeva was shivering with wonder to see a newborn child decorated so nicely with the valuable garments and gems. He could immediately understand that the Supreme Personality of Godhead had appeared not as an ordinary child, but in his original, fully decorated, four-handed form. The first wonder was that the Lord was not afraid to appear within the prison house of Kamsa, where Vasudeva and Devaki were interned. Second, although the Lord, the Supreme Transcendence, is all-pervading, he had appeared from the womb of Devaki. The third point of wonder, therefore, was that a child could take birth from the womb so nicely decorated. Fourth, the Supreme Personality of Godhead was Vasudeva's worshipable deity, yet had taken birth as his son. For all these reasons, Vasudeva was transcendently jubilant, and he wanted to perform a festival, as Kshatriyas do, to celebrate the birth of a child. But because of his imprisonment, he was unable to do it externally, and therefore he performed the festival within his mind. This was just as good. If one cannot externally serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one can serve the Lord within one's mind, since the activities of the mind are as good as those of other senses. This is called the non-dual or absolute situation, Advaya Jnana. People generally perform ritualistic ceremonies for the birth of a child. Why then would Vasudeva not have performed such a ceremony when the Supreme Lord appeared as his son? Om Jnanatimrandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Vandeham Shri Guru Shivta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha He Krishna Karunas Sindho Dhina Bandho Jagatpate Gobesha Gobika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gorangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishna Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gorat Vishye Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Ghora Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So Krishna has appeared, but not in ordinary form. He appeared in four-handed form, and Vasudeva is completely amazed. And naturally he wants to perform a festival. But he cannot do it externally because he's in prison. He's in Kamsa's jail in chains. But still, there is a way how he can do it. He can do it in the mind. And Prabhupada makes a point in purport that devotional activities in the mind, they're as good as the external devotional activities. Because there is no difference. So in this class I would like to focus a little bit on this devotional service in the mind. What does it mean? How it is understood or misunderstood? In Nectar Devotion, in chapter 10, entitled Techniques of Hearing and Remembering, Srila Prabhupada quotes a story. And also, same thing does the Rupa Goswami in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, the second wave of the eastern section of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, entitled Concerning Sadhana Bhakti. So there is a shloka there in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu entitled Meditation on One Service from another Purana. Shloka says, constantly serving the Lord with items produced in the mind, some devotees have directly attained the Lord, who is not approachable for others by words or mind. So that means that devotees in the past, they served the Lord constantly with the items produced in the mind. They didn't have a paraphernalia to serve and worship the Lord externally, but they did it in the mind. So whatever you need, you can manifest in your mind and worship the Lord with that. And you obtain the same result as doing it externally. So in the commentary of this sloka, Srila Jiva Goswami, he retells the story from Purana. It's a Brahma Vaivarta Purana. Story of Brahmana in South India in a city called Pratishtanapur. So there was a Brahmana who was quite poor due to his karma or Lord's will. He didn't have much of material wealth, but still he was very pure and devoted to the Lord. So he used to attend kathas, talks about the Lord, and one of the such kathas he heard that the Lord can be served in the mind. If you don't have the means externally, you can produce everything in your mind and in this way please the Lord. So he decided to follow this process. So every morning he would go to the bank of Godavari, he would take full bath there, then he would sit on the bank and do some pranayama to control the mind. And Srila Prabhupada comments in a Nectar of Devotion that previously, in the previous ages, even ordinary people, they used to know how to control the mind by performing pranayama. So after that, the Brahmana would close his eyes, and in the mind he would manifest beautiful deity form of the Lord. And then he would acquire the best paraphernalia to worship this form of the Lord. He would decorate the Lord, dress him in the best clothes. After that, mentally he would clean the temple where this deity was situated, perform the abhishek, perform the aratik. So in this way, he meditated on serving the Lord in the temple. And this went on for many, many years. So one day, while he was doing his meditation, he was cooking some kheer, some sweet rice, in meditation, of course. And by mistake, somehow, his thumb fell into the sweet rice. And seeing this, he was disturbed because he spoiled the sweet rice by putting his finger into the sweet rice. And at the same time, sweet rice was too hot. So he exclaimed, "Alas, alas," in his meditation. And woke up to see that his thumb was burned. And at the same time, Lord Narayan in Vaikuntha, he starts smiling because the Lord is the witness of all activities his devotees perform. So he smiled, and Lakshmi was next to him. So Lakshmi inquired, "What is happening? Why are you smiling, my dear Lord?" The Lord didn't reply, but ordered his Vishnuduta carriers to bring the Brahmana. Immediately they descended to the earth with the flower airplanes and took the Brahmana to Vaikuntha, presented him to the Lord, and then Lord in his presence explained this whole story to Lakshmi Devi. And of course, the Brahmana stayed eternally in Vaikuntha, serving the Lord Narayan and Mother Lakshmi. So it sounds quite easy to do devotional service in the mind. Have any one of you tried doing this? cooking in the mind, doing puja in the mind, or anything else, it's not very difficult. It doesn't sound very difficult. You can produce anything you want. Golden palanquins, altars, golden deities, so many things. But there's one problem, that our mind is uncontrolled. And that we cannot really concentrate. If I close my mind after 2 minutes, my smartphone will ring, or this thought will come, or that thought will come. And in this way, my devotional service in the mind will be interrupted. Of course, if I would know how to control my mind by doing pranayama, as the people in previous ages did, maybe it would be feasible. But rarely nowadays you find such a yogis who can just do some pranayama immediately, have one pointed attention, and do meditation the way they like. It is a very difficult process to do. Technically speaking, this doing devotional service in the mind comes under the category of smarana, remembrance of the Lord. And it is often quite misunderstood process, who is eligible to do it and how we can do it. And specifically, I would like to focus how it is practiced or mispracticed in a Gaudiya Vaishnavism. The Brahmana, he belonged to Sri Sampradaya, so he was worshipping Lord Narayan and Lakshmi Devi. But we as Gaudiya Vaishnavas, we worship Radha and Krishna. And in Gaudiya Vaishnavism, this Smaran is a limb of Raganuga Bhakti. When we say Raganuga Bhakti, immediately people get, oh, what is this? This is some very dangerous topic to even talk about. But at least we should know what it is to understand who can practice it and how it should be practiced. So, definition is simple. Vaidhi Bhakti is a bhakti that is prompted by scriptural injunctions. So, devotional service that is done motivated by the scriptural rules. But when the devotional service is prompted simply by spiritual greed for the bhava of Brajvasis, then it's called Raganuga Bhakti. And this is the definition of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in Raga Vartman Chandrika. So there is one approach to Raganuga Bhakti that has become prominent a few hundred years ago after Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and it's called Siddha Pranali Diksha. And somehow it has become very popular in the world in the last maybe couple of decades, last 20 or so years. You hear of many devotees going to Vrindavan or Radhakund, getting this Siddha Pranali Diksha, meditating on their Siddha Deha. So what is it? Siddha Pranali Diksha is the process of initiation in which one is given by his guru Ekadasha Bhava, means he is given 11 items of his spiritual identity. Identity in the spiritual world in Goloka Vrindavan. So he is given name, form, age, dress, residence, seva, relationship, youth or group, instruction, ambition and mood. These 11 items he is given by his guru during this Siddha Pranali Diksha or initiation. So what is the root of this process? It's an actually authentic process, but it's not coming from 6 Goswamis. 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, they never mentioned in their writings anything about Siddha Pranali. It's a term that is coined later. And Ekadasha Bhava is first time mentioned by Srila Dhyanachandra Goswami, who was disciple of Gopal Guru, who was one of the associates of Lord Chaitanya. So it's mentioned in his book called Shri Gaura Govind Archana Smarana Padati that was written in the mid-17th century. At that time was not very popular, but from 18th century it became a vastly accepted practice amongst the Gaudiya Vaishnavas. And the practitioners of this process, they quote one shloka of Rupa Goswami. Rupa Goswami mentions something about that only in one shloka in Bhaktarasamrita Sindhu, which says, Seva sadaka rupena, sida rupena chatrahe. It means that in his sadaka form, the devotee should perform the external limbs of bhakti, and his sida rupena, in his sida form, in his perfected eternal form, he should perform the service to Radha and Krishna in the groves of Vrindavan. And that obviously refers to Manasi Seva, service in the mind, or Smarana. But as we mentioned, to do this Manasi Seva, one requires very peaceful and sattvic mind. And especially, he needs a freedom from desire to enjoy the association of opposite sex, which is very difficult to find in present days. And historically speaking, this stress on Siddha Rupena Seva, on the service in one's spiritual form, by proponents of this Raganuga Bhakti process, resulted in a state of Vaishnavism that was not very exemplary. There was no preaching, temples were broken, and various asampradayas sprouted all over the India, especially in West Bengal. Aula, Baula, Kartabhajya, Prakrita Sahajya, so many. So how is this Siddha Pranali Diksha done? I heard some cases of devotees getting it. I heard of two devotees, they went to Guru, they got the Akadashi Bhava on a piece of paper. This is how the Guru gives them, because you cannot really remember, so he has to write it down for you and gives you on a paper. And then after the initiation, they were supposed to go and meditate on their spiritual form and Ashtakalya Lila of the Lord, eightfold pastimes of the Lord in spiritual world, and do the service prescribed to them. This is the process, how do you do it? And same time you chant, externally you chant, and internally you meditate on this Ashtakalya Lila. So out of curiosity, two of these devotees, they wanted to see what is each other's Siddha Deha. And to their utter dismay, they discovered that they got the same form. They were the same manjari in the spiritual world, with the same name, same age, everything was the same. So that caused some perplexion. So they went back to their Guru and asked, Guru Maharaj, what is this? How can we be the same person? I don't know what Guru Maharaj answered, but obviously they were not very inspired to continue this process. Another case I heard, Mataji, she also got her Siddha Deha from her Guru, but somehow she stopped practicing for some years and she lost her paper with the Ekadasha Bhava. So after some time, she got enthusiasm to continue, to come back to devotional service. So she went back to her Guru and asked for Ekadasha Bhava again. And to her surprise, Guru gave her Ekadasha Bhava, but it was not the same one as it was given before, as she expected. It was some new Siddha Deha. And again, she was very disappointed. So there were cases like this. There were cases also of devotees receiving Siddha Deha from one Guru, and then just out of curiosity to check, they went to another Guru and they would get completely different Siddha Deha. And sometimes, this caused a lot of confusion in the minds of these devotees. And it's actually causing harm to personal spiritual life, and it's also causing harm to reputation of Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, in a letter written in November 1930, he says, please listen, by attaining anartha nivritti, one's swarupa is automatically awakened, and the eternal mode of thinking that is innate to it manifests. Those who profess to teach or reveal this identity are deceitful, for it cannot be done. On the other hand, if a devotee receives some inspiration after sincerely chanting for a long time, he should go to a Sadguru or an advanced devotee and ask that it be confirmed and purified by him. The Swarupa has 11 aspects, Ekadasha Bhava. There are many cases of unscrupulous gurus who artificially force-feed these topics to unqualified practitioners, yet that cannot be called a symptom of spiritual perfection. Those who have achieved Swarup Siddhi gain such realization through internal revelation. The Guru's only involvement is to assist his disciples' ongoing advancement. As a sadhaka progresses towards Siddhi, all these things are naturally revealed within the heart that sincerely hankers for service. So actually it's not that Guru sees your Siddha Deha and he is just revealing it to you or gives you some Siddha Deha he wants. It's actually that it's something that is revealed to you by the holy name. And Guru only assists to refine this understanding. So if this Siddha Deha is given prematurely to neophyte devotee, to Kanishta Adhikari, it's causing havoc. Because he's meditating on conjugal pastimes of Radha and Krishna, very intimate pastimes of Radha and Krishna. And in this meditation, his material samskaras, reminding him on his previous sex lives, are aroused. And as the result, he actually meditates on sex life. And he may be prompted to engage in illicit sex life by this so-called meditation. That's why it is harmful. It opens the door of misconceptions and leads devotees into a swamp of practices that are completely incongruent to his stage of development. So Sri Krishna, the Lord, will never reveal the disciple's Swarupa to Guru if the disciple is neophyte. So all those who profess that they can reveal your Swarupa, they're cheating. Unless you're at advanced stage and Krishna really inspires him. All these misconceptions come from misunderstanding smaranam. What the smaranam or remembrance actually is. There was one movie that became also very popular in devotee circles. Maybe you heard of it. It's called The Secret. And also the book written in 2006 that was bestseller, sold in 30 million copies, also called The Secret. Basically focuses on the law of attraction, which is very popular in the New Age movement, which says that whatever you focus on, you attract to your life. For example, if I want a red Ferrari, I just have to sit and meditate that I'm driving this red Ferrari. And more I meditate, more I'm getting into it, I'm closer and closer to buying this red Ferrari. So similarly, those who meditate on their imagined Siddha Deha, they think by believing it more and more that I'm some sort of manjari or whatever, in Goloka Vrindavan that one day I'll just wake up and see that I'm that Manjari, but it doesn't really work like that. The word Smaranam that is used by Rupa Goswami Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu is not exactly the same as our word remember that we use in ordinary day-to-day life. According to Rupa Goswami, Smaranam means the contact of the mind with Sri Krishna's name, form, qualities, pastimes, and so on. So the exact shloka in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu says, Ata smriti yatha katham chin manasa sammada smritir uchyate. Connecting the mind to the Lord in some way is called remembrance. So actually this smaran or smriti, it is the factual contact of the mind with Sri Nam Prabhu, the personified holy name, not the contact with the external syllables of Namaparada. It's a factual contact of the mind with the divine form of Krishna, not our imagination. It's a factual contact of the mind with the actual pastimes of Krishna, not our mechanical visualization of something that we have absolutely no experience of. This also doesn't mean the contact of the mind with the material samskaras that are aroused by reading some Lila book, Lila Smaran book. At this point I would like just to make small digression how different objects are perceived differently. Material and spiritual objects, they have different ways of perception. So there are three features in the perception of the object. There is the sound of a word, the meaning of a word, and third thing is the perception of the actual object that is indicated by the word. For example, word water in English, jol in Bengali, pani in Hindi, voda in Russian. All these words, although they are different sounds, have the same meaning, indicate the object called water. But they are different, they are all different from water. If I'm thirsty and I say water, 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 is it going to quench my thirst? It is not, because the word water, the meaning of that word, and the actual object of water, they're completely different. However, for the spiritual object, it is different. But just first, not to forget, in regards to material object, to experience the oneness of these three features of the object in relation to material object is called kalpana or vikalpa or imagination. So if I imagine that the word water, the meaning of that word and the actual object, water, if I think that they are same, it is called imagination. I imagine that word water is the same as the water, but in reality it is not. Water is something different from the word water. So to imagine that they are same in relation to material object, that's called imagination or kalpana. This is Patanjali explains the Yoga Sutra. And then for the spiritual object, quite opposite is the truth. Because the spiritual objects, they are Advaya Jnana Tattva. Srila Prabhupada in the purport, this shloka we read, he mentions Advaya Jnana, that Lord is Advaya Jnana. Non-dual conscious reality. For the spiritual object, there is no difference at all between the sound, the meaning of that sound, and the object. So Krishna, his name, his form, they are identical. There is no difference. And to think that there is a difference between Krishna's name, Krishna's form and Krishna's pastimes is called imagination. It's called kalpana or vikalpa. So if I think that holy name and Krishna, they're different, that means that I'm imagining. So what is the sixth offense to the holy name? Anybody can remember? So to give some concocted interpretation on the meaning of the holy name, to interpret the holy name in its own way. In Padma Purana it's written Hari Namni Kalpanam. See, we have this word Kalpanam again in the term of the offense. Hari Namni Kalpanam. So I imagine some meaning of the holy name. I interpret it in accordance with my own imagination. So imagination means to cover the potency of Srinam Prabhu, of the holy name, with imagination, and this is the offense to the holy name. So if while chanting I'm making separate endeavor to mechanically visualize the pastimes of the Lord with my material mind, while at the same time I'm ignoring the sound of the holy name wherein the actual pastimes exist, that means that I'm thinking that the holy name and the Lord's form and lila are different. And then the subject of my visualization is completely prakrita, it's material. And then I'm prakrita sahaja. If I'm imagining some pastimes by trying to chant the holy name. So as long as the mind is inflected with the duality, there cannot be any perception, any awareness of any aspect of the Lord, who is Advaya Jnana Tattva, non-dual reality. As long as the mind is inflected with duality, there cannot be perception of even Brahman, what to speak of higher stages of realization. So that's why it should be understood that the genuine smaranam performed while chanting arises automatically when the holy name is uncovered from the influence of kalpana, from the influence of imagination. This is the real smarana. And Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he writes in Bhagavatam, for he who engages in hearing and chanting, there is no necessity to endeavor for smaranam. That is, smaranam takes place automatically. So when I uncover the holy name from my imagination, from my thinking process and visualization, then that holy name will manifest the form, qualities, and pastimes of the Lord automatically. So those who engage in mechanical lila smarana while chanting, they're simply covering the potency of the holy name with the dark clouds of their kalpana, of their imagination. They're covering the sun of the holy name with their imagination. And they call it lila smarana. But it has nothing to do with smarana. But people who profess this lila smarana, they say by doing this smarana, our heart will be purified. But if the smarana is the sadhana or process to purify the heart in the lower stages of bhakti prior to nishtha, then why Srila Jiva Goswami says quite the opposite in Bhakti Sandarbha, quote, by surrender, hearing and chanting and so on, if the chitta has become pure, one may take up the practice of smarana. Chitta refers to mind or heart. that inner psychological faculty. And then he says, Nama Smarana certainly depends on the Antakarana or Chitta being Shuddha, being pure. So this further illustrates that our material concept of word remember and the sense in which Rupa Goswami is using it is quite different. Anybody can remember Krishna's name, but only those with a pure mind and heart, with a pure chitta, they can perform smarana of Krishna's name. If the heart is not pure, if the mind is not pure, Jiva Goswami says one cannot even properly perform the smarana of the name. What to speak about of the smarana of the pastimes? And what pure heart or mind means, pure antakarana, pure chitta, it means predominantly sattvic mind, mind in the mode of goodness, free from influences of anger, lust, illusion, and other enemies. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and how this heart becomes pure, this is answered by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Chaitanya Charitamrita. He says, Sankirtana hoite papa samsara nashan chitta shuddhi sarva bhakti sadhan udgam. Chitta shuddhi. By chanting the holy name, sinful material existence is destroyed and heart is purified. And sarva bhakti sadhana udgam, all varieties of devotional service are awakened. So this is another approach to Raganuga Bhakti. Everything is revealed by the name. And Jiva Goswami again explains this in Bhakti Sandarbha. I'll quote one more time. He describes, delineates the process and the sequence, how actually the actual realization of the pastimes comes about. He says, at the first, a person must hear the holy name to achieve purity of antakarana, or psychological faculty, chitta. Thereafter, when his chitta has become pure, it is a fit appearance place for the Lord's beautiful form. And as soon as the Lord's form thoroughly manifests in his heart, as the result of hearing the descriptions of that form, the devotee experiences revelations, spurti, about the Lord's qualities. As the Lord's qualities fully unfold the defining characteristics of his associates, and thus his own defining characteristics and his unique interrelationship with each of them are exhibited. After that, when the Lord's name, form, qualities, and associates have completely manifested in the Bhakta's heart, the Lord's pastimes blossom in their full splendor. The progression of sadhana or krama has been delineated in this way with the intention of acquainting the devotees with the sequential process involved in the Lord's appearance within their hearts. The same sequence is applicable in regard to practice of kirtana, chanting, and smarana remembrance. So that means there is a sequence how things are revealed to us. Those who haven't realized that the Krishna is not different from his name and jump directly to Lila Smarana, they skip many things in between. First, they have to realize the form, then the qualities of Lord, then they have to have a realization of Lord's associates, parikars, and then his own, that they're their own siddha, they have their own form, and then only then they can engage actually in Lila Smarana. Otherwise it's jumping over and mixing things up, and it just doesn't work. So in short, what separates us from this present state to the perfect state of realizing the Lila is just one thing. Anybody can guess? It's not how good you can visualize. It is offenseless chanting. We must learn how to chant without offenses. It sounds simple, but again, it's so difficult. Prabhupada simply says, just chant and hear. Just hear. But when the mind is wandering, it is so difficult to hear. And then devotees, they complain, oh, my chanting is so dry, so let me try to visualize some pastimes, to remember this and that. In this way, I'll get some juice. But actually, in this way, they're just covering the holy name with their own imagination, instead of sticking to the sound of the holy name. Only that sound, when chanted without offenses, or at least Namabhasa stage, will reveal the higher aspects of the Lord. So somehow or other we have to learn to hear the holy name. In this regard, just a few more minutes. There is a story in Srimad Bhagavatam Mahatmya. Probably you heard the story of Gokarna. So there was a Brahmana who had two sons, just to make it short. The Brahmana had two sons, and one of them was a rascal dacoit, another was a saintly sadhu devotee. So the first son, dacoit, he was somehow killed by his... He used to keep some prostitutes, and he was killed by them, and he attained the body of a ghost. And in that ghost body, he harassed the whole village. Eventually, his brother came back to the village, and he was asked by this ghost, the brother in the form of ghost, to help him, to liberate him from this ghost form. So he performed a recitation of Bhagavatam for 7 days. Gokarna performed it for him. Many people were present, whole village was present in that assembly. And the ghost was also present, taking shelter of a bamboo pole. So after each day of recitation, one knot on the bamboo pole would crack. After the 7th day, after the Bhagavatam recitation was finished, the whole bamboo cracked, and they saw a person in beautiful bluish form with 4 hands and a yellow dhoti and with a garland appear before them. And that was this Dundukari, the brother of Gokarna, who was ghost. He got the 4-handed form. And immediately, Lord's associates from Vaikuntha, they came to pick him up. And at that point, Gokarna asked Vishnudutas, how is that this sinful brother of mine, he got such a wonderful result to be liberated, and others, they didn't. They also heard the Bhagavatam, but they didn't get liberated. And then the Vishnudutas, they explained, this is because he was hearing with a rapt attention, with full absorption of the mind. He was hearing the Bhagavatam, and during the night he was reflecting on what he heard, and because of such absorption, he is liberated now. So this is the difference in attentive hearing of the holy name or the Bhagavatam, and inattentive hearing. You get the full result only with the maximum full attention and absorption. So if we do our best every day to hear the sound of the holy name, then Krishna will manifest in that name, because he is not different. And then he will clean our heart. And then eventually we'll realize that that holy name is not different from Lord's form. And then gradually we'll become aware of the Lord's qualities, of Lord's associates. And eventually it will be revealed to us automatically our own eternal spiritual form and how to serve the Lord. And then the full pastimes of the Lord will blossom in our heart, just by the mercy of the holy name. But just we need to learn how to hear. Simple, but again so difficult. Okay, I'll stop here if you have any comments or questions. We have just a couple of minutes left. Yes, Prabhu. Just 1 second. Mic is here. Can you...
Thank you very much. Nice class. There's a lot of books out now about chanting and techniques for chanting. And at the same time, we also hear that we should just keep it very simple and just hear the holy name. And this point you were making about imagination, one devotee was saying you imagine yourself in a form like a manjari, and that way you can get free from your false ego, and it'll help you to chant with more absorption. So how do we clarify what is useful technique, or is it making the simple process more complicated?
Whatever technique help us hear the holy name is welcome. But if the technique is taking away our mind from the sound of the holy name, it's covering the holy name with imagination, and it's not helpful. So if identifying yourself as manjari or whatever you think that you are will help you to focus on the sound of the holy name, then it's okay. But if it engages the mind in extensive visualization, which prevents you from hearing the holy name, then it's not helpful. It's just covering the holy name. You cannot at the same time engage in extensive thinking process and hear. You have to be present somewhere in one place. Either you are visualizing or you are hearing. You cannot do both attentively at the same time. So our suggestion is just to pay the attention to the sound of the holy name, and that sound will manifest whatever else you need. But you have to be careful and to give oral reception and full attention to this sound of the holy name, not to cover it with your own imagination. Because it just imagine that we are something. It's imagination. It has no connection with reality. It's not real. I might think that I'm a cow or whatever. It's my imagination. How is that helpful in really realizing that the Lord and His name are not different? No, I have to give full attention to the Lord who is present in His holy name. And in order to be more attentive, of course, I can cultivate the mood. Yes, I'm eternal servant of Krishna. I should be aware actually of it. But it doesn't require huge and extensive visualization. I'm just aware that I'm a servant of Krishna. And also I should be aware that the Lord is present in His holy name, that He is not different of the holy name. And just these two facts will immediately bring my mind back to the holy name. Because if I know that the Lord is present in this sound, then how can I ignore it? How can I become inattentive and think about something else? So we can cultivate the mood, but we should not engage in extensive visualization, thinking, because that means we are not attentive, and then we cannot get the benefit of chanting. It's a simple process, but again, the mind is so restless. Actually, we are regularly, unintentionally covering it by imagination. Every time the mind wanders and we start thinking during chanting about something else without hearing the name, we are actually covering it with our thinking process, which is our imagination. And in this way, we make the offense. So we have to learn somehow or other to hear attentively, just to chant and hear. And at the same time, to be aware that we are servant of Krishna, and that we are praying to Radha and Krishna who are present in their holy names, that we are praying for servants. Prabhupada gave simple definition of the meaning of the Maha Mantra. O Lord's energy, please engage me in your service. So we can meditate on that meaning. Actually, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he recommends that one should meditate on the meaning of the holy name. And this is the meaning. Please engage me in your service. But this is not some extensive meditation and visualization that will distract us from the sound. This is my understanding. Yes, Prabhu.
Thank you very much for nice class.
Okay.
Sometimes while chanting or while engaging in devotional service, we will able to control our mind. We were able to control our mind.
Yes.
But if you go for work or outside some material activities, by seeing various situations, by seeing various things, we will remember our own old memories and old things, and which will disturb our sadhana and our progress in Krishna consciousness. How can we overcome such kind of mind going back to the old things?
Sri Bhaktivinoda Thakur recommends that one sits in front of the deity of Radha and Krishna, or picture of Radha and Krishna, and chants while watching the deity. Also, he recommends that one sits next to advanced devotee and chants his association, because in his association he will imbibe the mood to chant with a full absorption. Obviously, the samskaras that we acquired in so many lifetimes will come, but one should just ignore them, not give them too much attention, and continue to hear. And then by the mercy of the holy name, that sanskaras will be cleared. The heart will become pure if we just don't give them attention. If you pay too much attention to some thoughts, that means that you think that they are real, but actually they are not real. They are just imagination. They are kalpana. So you just let the thought come to the mind, let it go out. You don't pay much attention. You just continue to hear the holy name. And in this way, be in the presence of Radha and Krishna while chanting. And in this way, slowly, these thoughts or samskaras will subside. There'll be less and less. But it's of the utmost importance that we chant our rounds in a peaceful atmosphere. If I go and chant on the road with thousands of cars and so many things to disturb me, obviously it's very difficult to concentrate. So somehow we should create a situation where we can focus our mind with the concentration. And then during the day we might go and do things, but if we chanting at least our morning rounds very attentively in some peaceful atmosphere, it will be very helpful. So little arranging of life to have some peaceful time for chanting is required. And to continue to try to hear. Just try to hear. Whenever the mind wanders off, you bring it back to the sound, being aware that Krishna is present in that sound, that he is not different from that sound, and that you are praying to him to engage you in his service. This will bring the mind back. And gradually, the mind will become attached to the name, and it will be more and more easy. In the beginning, it's difficult until the mind comes to the sattva guna, until mind becomes pure or shuddha, as the Jiva Goswami mentions. So also, we have to cultivate such actions and behavior that is conducive to sattvic lifestyle. Mind that is full of rajas and tamas means that somebody is also engaged in rajasic and tamasic activities. So if the quality of our activities is changed to that of sattva guna, mind will gradually become more and more sattvic. So cleanliness, for example, is very important. If my room is so messy and dirty, and I pretend to have very sattvic mind, it's not going to work. Your environment will affect your mind, and then it will be very difficult to concentrate if your environment is rajasic. So we have to arrange our activities and our environment in such a way that they are helpful to achieving mind in the mode of goodness. And then pure mind, sattvic mind, it's easy to chant, it's easy to concentrate. Just we have to develop this sattva guna gradually. Is it okay? I don't think we have more time. Thank you very much. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.